Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and today we're going to continue our look at harmonics. Did a tutorial last time looking at playing natural harmonics. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link in the information section down there. And natural harmonics was a way of playing the string, make it vibrate in a particular way by touching it at a specific point along its length. So it vibrates and gives us a different note to an open string. It's not fretting a note, it's just touching the string above the fret. So if I play the open A string, I get an A. If I fretted at the 12th fret, I get an A an octave higher. But if I just touch it and take my finger off after I've picked it at the 12th fret, I still get an A an octave above the open note. But it's got a much different voice to it. It's more chiming, more bell-like. So that's the open. That's the normally fretted note, fretted at the 12th fret, and then harmonic. And there's different what we call nodal points along the string. So like the 7th fret, we get an octave plus a fifth, and so on. And if you had the opportunity to practice that technique a little bit, getting the coordination between your picking hand and your fretting or your touching hand, you should be able to play harmonics okay, and start to experiment with incorporating them into your playing. They only occur though at certain points on the neck, at equal divisions along the string, so a half or a third or a quarter or whatever. So there's only certain notes available to us as natural harmonics. So if we think about, I want to play, say, what if I want to play B flat? I want to play an octave above the 1st fret on the A string. I can't fret at the 13th fret, which is where I'd normally find a B flat or an A sharp, I want to call it that, because that's not an equal division of the string. This is where we play what's called an artificial harmonic. An artificial harmonic is exactly the same principle as natural harmonic, but the difference is we're not playing an open string, we're playing a harmonic on a fretted string. So if you think about playing that octave harmonic on the open A string, we just touch the string at the halfway point to give us the natural harmonic. If I fret it at the 1st fret, gives us a B flat or an A sharp, and a fretted note exactly an octave above that would be the 13th fret. So what we do to play an artificial harmonic is the same principle. We need to use everything coming from our picking hand though, because we're using our fretting hand down at the lower end of the neck, say in this case to fret at the 1st string. There's a few different ways you can do this. Just to kind of get you started, I would suggest instead of holding your pick between your thumb and your index finger like you normally would, hold your pick between your thumb and your middle finger and leave your index finger free. What I want you to do is try picking that string and have your index finger just above the 13th fret. And as you pick the string, touch it with your index finger just above the 13th fret. You should hear the harmonic ringing out. Because if you think about what happens with the open string, we'll have something that looks like this. In the case of a fretted note, the artificial harmonic looks like this. Same thing, we're taking the string at a particular division, in this case halfway along, and rather than fretting it, we're just causing the string not to vibrate at that particular point. So giving us these sort of like two half lengths, which give us an octave above the note that we would get, which is with the regularly fretted string. And the same principle applies at the other divisions along the string. So if you think we had the 7th fret harmonic on the A string, if we fret the A string at the 1st fret and then play an artificial harmonic at the 8th fret, we'll get the note that's an octave plus a perfect fifth above that fretted note. And same thing applies. It's all about taking the division, taking the string and dividing it up into equal bits. So if we have the same string fretted at the 3rd fret played an artificial harmonic at the 15th, it's an octave above, because the 15th fret is 12 frets above the 3rd fret. If we played it at the 10th fret, that's our octave plus perfect 5th harmonic. It's the equivalent of playing an open string at the 7th fret, but we've moved everything up by 3 frets. So the magic, if you like, with the artificial harmonic is about being able to do both the picking and the inducing that node point onto the string, all with your picking hand. And there's a few different ways for doing this. The way I'm kind of showing you here is probably the easiest as a beginner, because what you can do is you can pick the string, but you've got your very clear visibility with your index finger as to where you're inducing that note. You can it's very, very clear to see. It's a little bit fiddly though, because you need to swap between holding the pick with your thumb and your index finger and your thumb and your middle finger. So people often play artificial harmonics in a couple of different ways. One way is to hold the pick very low down in the thumb and actually to kind of bring the pick down on the string where you want to play the harmonic, and then you're actually inducing the node point on the string with the fleshy part of the thumb as you're picking the string. So if I'm playing here at, say, the 2nd fret, I want to play the harmonic at the 14th. Just touching the string with my thumb. Personally, I don't find that a particularly natural way to do it. Now, the way that I play an artificial harmonic is a little bit different, but it works for me. And I actually use my ring finger to touch the string at where I want that nodal point. Now, I find this works for me. It just feels more natural because I'm not adjusting what I'm doing with the way that I hold the pick. I'm still holding it between my thumb and my index finger in the same way. I'm not adjusting the way that where my thumb is on the pick so that the fleshy part of the thumb's anywhere near the string. It's exactly the same picking action, but what I'm doing is bringing my ring finger down onto the string where I want to play the harmonic. Now, if you try that, you might find it feels a little bit weird. Certainly if you're just starting out, knowing where you're putting your finger down to induce the nodal point, if you're using your ring finger for that, it's going to be obscured by your picking hand. It's not as easy to see where you're putting your finger down. But to be honest, after a while you can kind of just do this almost by instinct and by feel, because you're aware of where your ring finger is in relation to where you're picking the string, and as you just move your hand around, you find you hit the harmonics, because the nodal point is a certain distance behind your pick. It's kind of difficult to explain just through the camera rather than actually sitting with you and kind of demonstrating it, but hopefully you get the idea of what I mean. So these are the same, like I say, these are the same principle as a natural harmonic, but because you've got a bit more control over the fact that you're fretting the note as well as playing the harmonic, you can kind of get any note that you want as an artificial harmonic, just depending on where your fretting hand is in relation to your picking hand. And these are really, really useful for adding more interest or more variety to your lead lines. One way you'll often hear them used is to give you just one note out of a run or something that really, really jumps out. So you've got some regular notes and then a harmonic that really leaps out. So if I just put the dirty channel of the amp on for a second, and just playing a regular lead line and then throw in an artificial harmonic, here those harmonics really, really jump out, but I'm not having to go right the way up the neck to play a high note and then back down to where I'm playing before. The harmonics are just kind of there if I can kind of squeeze them out of the string. Yeah, so you can get some notes that really jump out at you because they're so much higher than the other notes that you're playing. They're still kind of in the key, because if you think about the relationship between the length of the string and the where the harmonic is, it's a regular sort of division, so you're getting it at an octave, or an octave in a perfect fifth, or 2 octaves. So it's generally going to be kind of in the key, but because it's so much higher, you really get the impact because it jumps out at you. You need to take a bit of time. Start off by playing natural harmonics to get used to the idea of just like touching the string rather than fretting it. Then get into the idea of playing the harmonic with your fretting, with your picking hand while you're fretting a note, and just experiment. And over time, you'll find certain like harmonic ideas that just really work for you, and you will incorporate them into your own playing, and like using them in soloing or whatever, just to make your playing a little bit more interesting. As always, I guess the key word's experimentation. Being comfortable with the technique, being able to play harmonics, whether natural harmonics or artificial harmonics, and being prepared to just experiment and try and incorporate them into your playing. Listen to other people's playing, so you can identify situations where they're using harmonics and think about, well, could you adapt that and use it in your own playing? They're quite useful. There's a few little tricks you can play with harmonics. They're particularly effective. So if I play a 2 octave harmonic by playing a natural harmonic at the 5th fret on the 3rd string, and push the tremolo down, you get a very pronounced dive bomb effect because you're playing such a high note. The decrease in pitch is much more pronounced. Little things like that. Things you can do, just play around, experiment, be creative, and find ways you can incorporate harmonics into your own play. Okay, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, please click like, subscribe, comment, all the various options down there that YouTube gives you. If you've got a question or something that you want to suggest for a future video, then if you go here, send your question in, I'll try and get around answering it as soon as I can. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.